Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Deck Tech. I believe this would be episode 4, I think we're on. Um, in this particular episode here, what we're going to be looking at is the meta mono wild that a lot of you probably have seen be played on the maybe the tournament of streamers there, or maybe you've come up against this deck in certain games that you've played there online with another opponent or whatnot. And it's a pretty simple deck. It has a lot of you can build a lot of creativity into the deck. It just needs a few key cards to actually get things going. So you can actually make your own twist to it, and the deck will still be very effective, I believe. So let's go ahead and just get the deck started here. I'm just going to call mine Meta Mono Wild, since it's kind of part of the meta game as it stands right now. And like I said, it is a mono deck, so we're not going to be running any other colors. So first thing we're going to do here is just go ahead and get the shards out of the way. And we're going to actually run 23 shards. Now, you can certainly run more, you can certainly run less, and put in your own twists to the actual deck there. Completely up to you, does not matter. I find that 23 seems to work pretty well. So that's why I run 23. Alright, first card we're going to add here is going to be the Chaos Key. I like to run Chaos Key here because it gives me some form of removal. This particular card here can target anything. And the reason I chose this, well, I shouldn't say the reason I chose it. The reason I think that it's in the deck there is because a lot of people also run Battle Beetle, and they put the gem in the Battle Beetle that has Spell Shield. Well, the Chaos Key can actually get around Spell Shield and still avoid the actual card itself. Or it can actually, it can void the Fist. The Fist of Brigadon. Even though it says invincible, this card, the Chaos Key, will actually void it. Since it's not actually destroying it, it's voiding it, so it'll still remove it off the table. So it's a very powerful card. It can remove basically anything on the table. So let's go ahead and run two of these here. And let's see, the next card here, I pulled Secret Laboratory just for some card draw. I'm not a particular fan of this card here, but just because you have to discard a card, so it's like, do I really want to draw a card now? It's really cheap to draw a card, but you have to discard a card. That's the part I don't like. So we only run 2 of them, and we only use it if we really, really need to, or we have something we can discard. Like if we're loaded up on shards, resource cards. Let's go ahead and draw a card so we can get something else, and we can just discard one of those resources. Not a big deal. And next card we're going to pick here is the Battle Beetle. And like I said, with the Battle Beetle, we're going to put a gem in it. And the gem we're going to choose is the one that gives us Spell Shield. And that is the Wild Orb of Conservation. So let's go ahead and do that. And speaking of putting gems in cards, you can't just do one. You have to actually do all of them. So when you're when you have the card in zoom in view, you have these arrows across the top here. If you go to your next card, even though I have the gem in the first card, it doesn't have it in the second card. So you got to do it to all of them. I'm not sure why they made it that way. I suppose they did that so you could run different gems in the same card, I guess. So it took me a while to actually figure that out. Because some decks I was running, the gems, and some of them would come out, and I'm like, hey, where's my gem? That's got to be an error. Well, turns out that you actually have to socket them individually. So just keep that in mind when you are socketing your cards there. Anyway, Battle Beetle, you can give the troop flight. So if you're playing against a deck that doesn't have flight, or all of his cards are grounded, you can go ahead and spend 2 resource points, get this baby up in the air and attack, and he won't be able to be blocked. It's a good card to actually have out on the table there, and it's not too bad. 6 cost, 2 threshold. It's obviously not something you bring out right away early game. It's something for late game. So it is pretty powerful card there. And the next card here, this is one of the cards that is pretty much a mandatory for the actual deck, and that's Chlorophyllia. Chlorophyllia, when it's a basic action here, and you gain 2 threshold and you gain 2 resource points. So this here is used to ramp up your threshold and your resources quickly. And one of the reasons you want to run this here is because we're also going to be running Honeycap, and you've probably seen Honeycap too. The quicker you can get down Chlorophyllia, and get your threshold up there, get your resource points up there, the quicker you can bring out Honeycap and make him powerful, since he gains +1/+1 for each threshold that you do have. So let's go ahead and we're going to put 4 Chlorophyllias in the deck. And the next card we're going to bring out here is Crash of Beasts. Now, Crash of Beasts is one of those escalation cards, but it's not a escalation card that gets out of control like Pack Raptor. This one here just creates 1 Rhinoceros, put it back in your deck, then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like Pack Raptor where you get one and then it shuffles 4 back into your deck. Pack Raptor can be great if you're up against a deck that has heavy removal, where you need a lot of cards. Keep bringing cards back out. But the problem with Pack Raptor is you keep shuffling these cards back into your deck, and it keeps limiting the chance of you drawing the card that you need. If you're running Shines and resources, well, every time you pull out a Pack Raptor, well, you're just making it that much harder to get the resources that you need to be able to play the cards that you want to play, because you're shuffling so many Pack Raptors back in. So that's one of the problems with Pack Raptor, and that's where Crash of Beasts kind of gets around that. It's not putting, so many cards back in. It's just putting that card back in the actual deck there. And with this deck here, we're just going to run 2 Crash of Beasts. And let's see, the next card we're going to run here is Giant Squirrel. Giant Squirrel is kind of a neat card. When you bring it out on the table, you can choose. Isn't it Giant Squirrel Titan? I thought it was. Let's just type in Titan here. Crazed Squirrel Titan. Sorry, not Giant Squirrel Titan. You choose an opposing troop, and they battle with it. So it's kind of a removal card. As long as the attack and toughness on the Squirrel Titan is going to beat the other card, it's going to remove it. Just be aware though that when this happens, that the toughness, if you're going up against a 4 toughness card, you're going to beat him, but you're going to take 4 damage, and that Crazed Squirrel Titan is going to remain at 1 toughness for the rest of your turn. So if the deck you're playing against has some type of removal where it can do 1 or 2 points of damage, your Crazed Squirrel Titan is going to be destroyed. So just keep that in mind when you play that card there. But we're going to go ahead and run 2 of these in the deck. And the next card we're going to do is Evolve. Now, Evolve is I don't know. I'm not really sure about this card. It's a basic action. I think it'd be a lot better if it was a quick action. Because I guess that's where Wild Growth comes into play. But so this card here is kind of up in the air for me. I'm not really sure if I like it or not. In this particular deck. So feel free to switch this one out at all. But I'm currently running 2 of these. If this was a quick action, it'd be pretty good. But like I said, that's where Wild Growth comes into play. And next card we're going to do is Fist of Brigadon. And the Fist of Brigadon is one of the card you're trying to get to. Again, like I said, he's invincible. He doesn't need to attack every turn if able. So if you have a couple fists out, and a couple battle beetles, this is kind of what you're gearing up towards. The whole game is to get this card out and the battle beetles as well. So we'll go ahead and run 2 of these. And let's see, what do we got next here? The next card we're going to pull out is the actual Honeycap itself. Like I said, Honeycap is a great early card if you can ramp up your threshold quickly. And we're going to run 2 Honeycaps. Isn't it Honeycap? I could be wrong. I thought it was Honeycap. One word together, Honeycap. Okay, go ahead and run 2 Honeycaps. Like I said, they get +1/+1 for every threshold you have. So, if you're running, you're running the Chlorophyllia, you can certainly ramp up super quick, and as soon as like turn 4, you can bring out a 6/6 Honeycap, maybe even higher, depending on how you have certain things set up there. And next card we're going to do is Howling Brave. And Howling Brave here, he also gives you a threshold gain, and then you can tap him every turn to gain temporary resources. So on turn 4, if you have a couple Howling Braves out and you have already met your threshold requirements for fists, you can bring out fists on turn 4, which is very powerful. So because of that, we're going to run 4 Howling Braves. And another reason to run 4 too instead of just like 2 or 3 or just 2 is, you know, you want to try to lead with Howling Brave. It seems like the best start for this deck here is if you can go turn 1 Howling Brave, and then you can go turn 2 Chlorophyllia. If you have the resource in your hand, you drop a resource. Now you got 2. You tap Howling Brave for 3 temporary resources. You know, you can pull out Chlorophyllia, so it works out pretty well. That seems like it's kind of like how people really like to play this deck here. And the next card we're going to do is some card draw. We're going to pull out the Sensei here. You know, he's a pretty cheap card. He's not real powerful or anything like that, but you know, you can draw a card without any repercussions. You just draw a card, so it works out pretty well. And we're going to go ahead and run 2. Nope, let's take that back. We're going to run 4 of these. And let's see, next card here. This here, I've never seen anybody run this card here, but I've actually, you know, it comes in quite handy. And this is Nature of Rains. It especially works well if somebody has a chaos key sitting out on the playing field that they haven't used yet. You go and throw this down, get rid of their chaos key, or you know, get rid of some of their card draw or some other type of artifact, and you know, it works really well just to go ahead and destroy that. I don't see too many decks running cards that destroy artifacts or constants, you know, so this can come in pretty handy, and I have used it a few times so far while just playing around with this deck here. We only run 1, but you know, you can certainly go ahead and run more than that if you'd like. Next card, it's a toss-up here. You know, it's a toss-up between Onslaught, and Onslaught is a basic action, so you have to play it during your first or second main phase, and your troops that you control get +3/+3 and crush that particular turn. Really great late game card, but it gives your opponent your opponent can see, you know, what you're going to do, what you're ramping up to. So I mean, if you have a bunch of troops on the field and he's only got a couple of blockers, maybe 3 or 4, and you have 6 blockers, you know, go ahead and throw this card down, and pretty much you're probably going to just trample right through him and do some damage, if not, you know, win the game that particular turn there. The other option that I was thinking about is what's it called? The Spirit Dance. Not Sprite, Spirit Dance. And Spirit Dance here is a basic action, but the troops in your deck get permanent +2/+2, and they reduce their cost by 2. So think, you know, if you think of it this way, it is a 5-cost card, so you're already going to be up there around, you know, the fists and the battle beetle and whatnot. But if you have, you know, a 6-cost fist, and now he's only costing 4, and you have, you know, 8 resources to work with, and you have this card already played, you know, when you have 2 fists in your hand, you can go ahead and play both of them, and you know, you'll still be able to get those on the field. So it's kind of a toss-up, you know, whatever you want to do there. I run the Spirit Dance. I think it works pretty well. It's just if you can find it quick enough, you know, is the key there. So we'll go ahead and run 1 of those, and then we're going to run Wild Aura, and that just gives a troop +2/+2 and crush. And since it's a quick action, how I like to play this card here is I like to go ahead and attack, and then, you know, if the opponent's going to block, and then, you know, after he declares his block, you know, the priority comes back to me. I'll go ahead and throw this card on the card that he's blocking to either destroy or just prevent my card from actually dying that turn there. So it works pretty well. We go ahead and run 2 of those. And let's see here. The next card we're going to do is Wild Growth. And again, Wild Growth here is just a quick action. You know, you go +3/+3 this turn. Again, this card does get shoveled back into your deck, and the next time you pull it out, it costs 0. So the first time you use it, you pay 1, but then after that, it's pretty much a free card if you can continue to find it. So, you know, I like it. It works pretty well. And then the last card we're going to pull out here is the Wild Root Dancer. Wild Root Dancer, you know, so if you can get this out early, every time you play a resource, you can give a troop +2/+2, and that seems to work out really well. And again, it's, you know, part of the meta deck, so we'll go ahead and run 2 of those as well. All right, and let's see here. What did we forget? I'm 3 cards short here. Ball Fist. How many Wild Auras did I bring out here? Okay, we got those. Chaos Key. I always, for some reason, every time I make the deck, I miss something, and I always end up short on cards here. Let me just go through my list, make sure we got everything. Ah, there it is. Is it honey cap? Supposed to run 2 honey caps. So let's put another one of those in there. And I think I'm supposed to be running one of those, 2 of those. Chlorophyllia, we got that. Battle Beetle, 2. Crash of Beast, 2. Squirrel. Do we got 4 Howling Braves? We got 4 Howling Braves, 4 Senseis, 2 Wild Root Dancers. What did I miss? Ah, there it is. I like this card. I actually love this card. Eternal Guardian. Eternal Guardian is pretty killer. He is very expensive, but you know, you get this card out, you know, and you can't take any damage as long as he's still alive. Granted, he can be removed with you know, extinction, murder, some type of removal card like that. You know, he can be removed, but it's prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and other troops that you control. Not this particular troop. This troop can still be killed, but it's super nice if they don't have a way to actually remove this card. You know, it can buy you some time, you know, to get the board balanced back out. So, and I found it very, very useful in certain situations here. I think just the other day, I was playing against a guy. He had me down to 3 health. He was up to 36, 37, and I was able to drop this card down. And I did end up winning that game. It took some time, but I ended up winning. You know, so it can certainly help you out. And go ahead and run 2 of those. And let's see here for the champion. I've ran both. I've ran both Running Deer and the Monika'shin and Monika'shin. I think that's it. That's the name of the champion. Where'd it go here? I think that's how you pronounce it. The Monika'shin. Monika'shin creates a battle hopper and put it into play. It creates an 0-1 battle hopper. It's not as useful, I don't think, but it does work because you can use those 0-1 battle hoppers just to block damage coming your way. They're gonna die, obviously. But if you have any type of, you know, buff on the table, you know, you can certainly pump them up. You can pump them up with Wild Root Dancer. I basically, when I tested out with this particular champion here, I just used him to block damage from other troops. Like if I had a whole lot of damage coming with me and I had 2 or 3 of these out, I could just absorb some of that with these guys for at least 1 turn. But mainly, Running Deer is the one that most people use. It just gain you 5 health every 4 charges, and they both have the same threshold count. You know, 1 threshold, 1 wild threshold. Create the battle hopper is 3, and you know, gain the 5 health is 4. So you choose, play around with them, whatever you want to do there. Like I said, I play with the Running Deer here. Now, when it comes to the actual side deck, you know, I'm not really sure, but I've the side decks are tough because it's really, you know what you're up against, you know, what you want to trade in and out. You know, a couple things that maybe you could trade out is a Pact of Life, you know, to give you some life gain for every resource you throw out there. Maybe put in Turbulence if you're up against a heavy flight deck. You know, if you're up against a heavy removal deck, you could maybe throw in Pack Raptor. You know, like I said, I don't like the card, but you know, it's, you know, really up to you. I don't really have any suggestions on your side deck there. It's entirely up to you what you want to flip in and out of there. So yeah, that's the meta mono wild pretty much. You know, with a few of, I think, my own variations there, but for the most part, it's what people have been running here. So go ahead and play around with this deck here. I'm sure you'll like it. I have really good success with it, just as everybody does there. If you come up against another mono wild deck, and it's basically a race to see who can get their troops out first. And it's kind of fun, you know. It's interesting because sometimes the boards will be matched perfectly. And at that point in time there, it just comes down to strategy and, you know, when to attack, when not to attack, you know, this, that, and the other thing. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it gives you an idea on the mono wild deck there. So go ahead, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment if you like. If you want to see more of them, click subscribe. It'll have another video for you soon.